All right, guys, well, this will be the second part of this how to tan a hide series here, or whatever you want to call it. This is the second day. So yesterday we got our hides rehydrated and salted. So they've been setting all day. It's been 24 hours. Today's the next day. Now we got to scrape this old salt off and put some fresh salt on it. There is whenever you do this, guys, kind of pay attention to where you knock all your salt off, because it will kill all your grass or whatever. So you don't want to be doing this in your front yard, you know. But there's a couple things I want to show you here, and then we'll just jump right into it. All right, well, we got our hides in there. We got our 3 skunk and raccoon. They've been salted, set in 24 hours. And as you can see, this is where I knocked the salt off the last ones and all the grass is dead. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it here again. But the reason, I'll show you why I used a bucket with the holes in it inside of a bucket, is because when you pull it out, there's a little bit of drip. Now, I mean, there's, you know, depending on what you got in there, there could be more, there could be none, depending on how dry you get it or whatever. But I don't want my hide setting in this as they're salting. I just want everything to drip out and go right down to the bottom of this bucket. So the second step, or third step, however you're doing this, would be to knock all the salt off and reapply a good layer of salt. So we get this camera flipped around and we'll get right to it. All right, guys, we got our hide here. We got our skunk. We're just gonna go ahead and flip it back to fur in, so we can go ahead and get this layer of salt off of it and get a new layer on it. Sometimes it's easier said than done to flip them, but as you proceed with the steps, it'll get kind of softer and a little easier to work with. Just get him all flipped inside out here. And if you got a bunch of cuts on your hands, I would advise wearing some gloves, because the salt will burn your hands up. Can't get his head through. All right, we got our skunk flipped fur in. Oh, just popped his nose through his eye. There we go. We got him all salted up. You can see the salt's holding a lot of moisture, so we need to get it knocked off. There's a few ways. A lot of times I'll just kind of smack them at first, and it'll knock a lot of that salt off. And then I can just take a back edge of a knife and just kind of knock all that salt off there. Pretty simple process, guys. Like I said, when you're tanning these hides, you spend more time waiting than anything. These steps don't take long at all, really, depending on how many you're doing. But it's most times just waiting, really. All right, well, there's one. Got him all ready. I'm just going to leave him like that and take it back inside and resalt it. All right, guys, just got back into the shed here. Just got all the salt knocked off. That was the first layer here. And if you got to make sure you follow these directions really close, because there is 2 different methods here. There's a method to tan with the hair on, or to tan with hair off. So you guys got to know what you're doing with your hides here and which steps to follow. That's really the only difference in the steps, is step number 2 and 3. We are still on step 2 at this point. We have already salted yesterday. We just scraped it off, and now we're going to salt again. So after this step is when we go to number 4. We skip 3 because we're leaving the hair on. We want to skip to step number 4, and that'll be a salt bath, but that's tomorrow. I'm going to put this whole video kind of into one until we actually put the tanning solution on. and that'll be a video itself. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do this in 3 parts. So anyway, we're ready to resalt this thing. You can tell a lot of this grease is starting to leach out of it. It feels real greasy, and it's even starting to kind of soften up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and just cover again really good and salt. So we're just going to salt him up really nice and good. Like I said, guys, this is a crucial step in this process, so don't skimp on the salt, and just, you know, salt it really good, guys. If this is something you're taking your time on, you want it to come out the best it can. So and guys, don't be scared to try this method. It might seem intimidating at first, but it's really not, guys. I know I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again. You spend more time waiting than you do actually messing with the fur. So it's a pretty good process. So we're just going to go ahead and salt him down really good. And then we're going to flip him back in to fur out. And he's going to set for another 24 hours, set until tomorrow, and they'll get a salt bath. So that'll be on this same video. Hopefully, should be. And then after that, we'll be thinning the hide after it dries. We can thin it down, kind of clean it up if we got some problem areas, which you think whenever you flesh these things, you think you got them good and perfect, until you get to the tanning process and you can really see what you missed. As I stated, this salt is drawing the grease out of these animals, so it'll be noticeable whenever we get a few steps down the road. It'll be pretty noticeable where this hide needs some attention. I can kind of already tell in some spots right down in here it's going to need a little work, but that's all part of it, guys. And it really, you know, putting up your fur really has a lot to do with how these turn out. I'm pretty sure, I think I read on that bottle where it states it's best to do it fresh after you skin, but I just don't have time, obviously, throughout my trapping season. If I want to enjoy my trapping season, I gotta spend more time catching stuff and not tanning stuff. That's why I wait until season's about done. I'll start tanning stuff. So yep, we got him all salted down again. We're just gonna flop that tail in, flop his face in, and fold him in half. Set him down in the bucket. Got a few more pelts to do, and after I get these done, they're gonna sit there for 24 hours until tomorrow, and then we'll knock the salt off of them and get them in a salt bath. Alright guys, well, it's been 24 hours. This is the second time we're going to pull these hides out of there and scrape the salt off. So now is when we want to prepare our saltwater bath. So I've just got 3 gallons of hot water, as hot as my tap water will get it in the house there. I'm going to go ahead and I got 3 gallons, and you want ½ a pound of salt per gallon of water. So I'm just going to dump a whole one of these in there. And you want the water to be hot so it dissolves that salt, but then you got to wait a while and let it kind of cool off. You don't want to just put your fur in there while the water's all hot. But yep, we're going to dump this in, get all that salt in there, let it start dissolving. Where'd my little stir stick go? Huh. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up. I'm gonna take these outside, knock all the salt off of them, and then after this saltwater bath cools off a little bit, we're gonna put our hides in the saltwater bath. So I'll get that done and we'll be right back. All right, so we got all our pelts, all the salt knocked off the pelts there. All the salt has dissolved in our warm water here, and the water's cooled down. It's been probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So now all we're gonna do is take our pelts and put them in the salt bath. Push some of the air out of it. Got my little stir stick here. I'll just keep kind of pushing them down in there. Try to get all the air out. You want the salt bath to cover all these hides. So just kind of stir them in there a little bit. We'll leave them set in there for 6 to 8 hours, guys. That is what the directions call for here. We're on step number 4 here. I know some people leave them soak in there for longer. If you're tanning a fox, red or gray fox, you're supposed to only leave these in there for 15 minutes. Pretty sure that's what it said, 15 minutes. Yep. So 6 to 8 hours on these. I'll probably leave them in there a little longer, probably 7.5 to 8 hours. And then we'll pull them out and rinse them off in some clean water, and then they will hang up and dry over 24 hours, till tomorrow afternoon. All right, guys, we got our furs down here. They've been in the saltwater bath for about 8 hours, and now all we have to do is pull them out, rinse them off, snap them off, and then hang them up to dry for 24 hours. Hang them up until tomorrow, and then they'll be good to go. They have softened up quite a bit from setting in the saltwater bath. There's our skunk we've been following here. Figure I'd just do it with him, but all I do is I take him out of the saltwater bath. We're gonna go ahead and wring them out. Gonna flip them back inside out, or right side out, I guess it would be, fur out. Go ahead and flip them out. We'll get them all rinsed off. We'll snap them dry, and then we'll just take them into the shed and hang them up overnight until I get off work tomorrow. Then they will be ready to be thinned. This is just regular clean water, room temp, kind of warm. Like I said, we're just going to rinse them off, snap them off. Turn them back fur in, let them dry. Yeah, that's all it is, guys. We'll go ahead and flip them fur in. And they'll be ready to hang and dry. We'll just hang them up, let them start drying off. Alright, guys, we just got our hides hung up there. They were in the salt bath, and then we rinsed them and cleaned them in just regular clean warm water. So they're going to sit here and hang until tomorrow afternoon, and when I get off of work they will be ready to we'll thin them down a little bit. We'll thin the hides where they need, clean them up a little bit, and then they will get washed in Dawn dish soap, and then they'll hang, and then they'll be ready. The following day after that, they will be ready for the tanning solution.